Well, hey there, friends. Welcome to another exciting edition of Equip with Chris Brooks. I'm so thrilled that you've joined us today. Do me a favor, strap on your seatbelt as we navigate through the contours of culture, as always, with the lens of the biblical worldview on. But before we do that, let me remind you, this is the day that the Lord has made. He has given it as a gift so that you and I can rejoice and be glad in it. So let's do just that. Let's follow the words of the Apostle Paul. Let's rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Today, I want you to help me welcome to the host seat, Carl Clausen. Carl is a man of God who has served as a pastor, author, and radio host. He's the co-host of Carl and Crew in the Morning and is a pastor of vision and leadership at 180 Church. Carl's passion is to see men and women flourish in their walk with Christ and believing God that greater things are yet to come. Carl, thanks for hosting this edition of Equip.
It is a joy to be with you here today. Again, my name's Carl Clausen, and I am thrilled to be here. We got a hot topic today. You know, I've learned this in life. The only way to see whether or not something really is working well is to pressure test it. And one of the greatest things I ever learned as a young man growing up was sweating copper pipes with my dad. We would get those pipes together and then heat up a joint and get the solder sucked into that joint. And we thought we had a good connection. And the only way to really know was to put the pressure to the water line. Invariably, we would have a couple little teeny leaks and we'd shut down the system, drain the water out of that area, reheat up that joint, and get some solder back in there. There's a lot of things in your life today that pressure test your relationship with God. They're real. I mean, consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. And perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. When James, the half-brother of Jesus, wrote those words, he was writing to a church that was under pressure. There's a lot of things in life that give us pressure. But one of those things is kids, grandkids, and particularly, because I have experience with this, kids' sports. There are so many directions we could go with this, but we're going to go right to the heart of it today. In everything you do, do it to the glory of God. I've got a special guest with me. I can't wait to get him in. Let's do it now. Brian Smith, author of Away Game, a Christian parent's guide to navigating youth sports. You know, Brian, I got to tell you, this must be a short book. You open it up and it says, get your kids out of sports so that you don't lose your sanctification in this process.
Thanks for having me, Carl. Yeah, sounds like you wrote the book. There you go.
Oh, you sports, my friend. You know, it's evolved over the years, but I remember back to the days when Little League and youth football that I played in and all these things, we had a little bit of the challenges that we have now. It's kind of gotten exasperated, but it seems like youth sports has almost become a substitute god for people in our culture today. What's your heart on that? Am I overstating it too much?
No, I don't think you are. And for many of us who had the privilege of playing sports in a different era, maybe when they were not as professionalized as they were today, if we could throw that word out early on, we grew up knowing what it was like to go play baseball in the sandlot and just have fun with the friends and walk down the street and play basketball with our buddies without any pressure that we needed to record ourselves on social media or build a following or just have this somebody's always watching, specializing early. So it was just a different era of sport. And yeah, today there's almost this expectation for kids at a young age that, man, if you don't have your sport figured out by the time you're 8 years old, you're so far behind and you're never going to catch up. And it's hard as parents to like, what do we do with that when it feels like the culture is pushing our kids towards this pressure cooker? But the Bible's going to tell us in Romans 12 not to conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So my friend, Dr. Ed Uzinski, and I wrote this book specifically for Christian parents, essentially as like a what do we do as parents in the midst of this crazy youth sport culture?
Yeah. We're going to have a lot of folks that want to get in here today, and they're going to have questions for you. If you've got a youth sports question, this is your opportunity right now. 877-548-3675. Give us a call right now. Light them up, guys. 877-548-3675. So I think a lot of us have seen that it can be perilous for the kids, but we got to make sure that we've got the oxygen mask on ourselves as parents and grandparents first, don't we? So that we're thinking clear. I find a lot of parents, even really God-fearing, Jesus-loving, Holy Spirit-filled, Christ-following parents can get derailed by youth sports as well.
Oh, absolutely. I say often that youth sports is like a mirror. Like you show up on the sidelines, your kid's there, and you could have the best of intentions, and then the ref makes a bad call, or the coach takes your kid out of the game, or something happens and something just snaps inside. And it doesn't always have to be outwardly sinful. It could just be maybe a comment that you make. But really what's happening on the field as we watch our kids and how we respond reveals a lot about our own maturity and walk with Christ. And I would be the first person to say there is a level of ugliness in my own heart. And sometimes it even comes out of my mouth when I'm on the sidelines that I'm not proud of, but I'm also grateful that sports reveals that because it happens in public, which then gives me a chance to do the hard work of saying something needs to change if I want to look more and more like Jesus in this space.
What needs to change most? My contention here is that it's in the engine room of the soul. What are you saying, Brian?
What needs to change most is in the area of youth sports is parents. It really does start with us adults taking a deep breath, saying the result of this game is not going to impact the next 3 years of my kid's life. And maybe even more than that, Carl, is an understanding that what's actually happening before us as we watch our kids play a game, let's use that phrase, play a game, right? They're supposed to be having fun.
Yeah.
We're getting all sorts of information as they go through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And as parents whose God-given role in our kids' lives is to be their primary discipler, what we get to watch on the baseball fields and on the basketball courts and in the pool is to see them go through all these emotions, which is amazing opportunity. It's amazing material for us as disciplers to go back home and say, hey, when this was happening today, could you let me know what you were thinking? Or when the coach pulled you out, can you let me know kind of what was going on in your head? Or when Timmy took the ball from you, were you frustrated? Can you maybe let me into that a little bit? And so I really do think that in the area of youth sports, maybe we're trusting it for too little in our kids' lives, that we want so badly for them to make the next team or to get the college scholarship. But what if God actually has our kids in youth sports to teach them how to love other people better, or to develop patience, or to figure out that despite winning 3 games in a row, there's still this emptiness that can't be filled by sport alone.
Yeah, love it. Dan Orlovsky gave you a big endorsement on this book, along with a bunch of other significant players in the area of sport. And his endorsement was beautiful. And, he alluded to that there's things to be learned in sports that kids can't otherwise learn them. That's really true, isn't it, Brian?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just think of my kids go to school each and every day. My kids are in public school, and I'll ask them the question that most parents ask when their kids get off the bus and come home, and it's, how did your day go? And what's the response, Carl, that we get? It's good, fine. And because I'm not sitting in the lunchroom, I'm not standing by their locker, I'm not in the classroom, I don't really know what happens during the day. But when I'm watching sports, I don't have to guess. I get a front row seat to seeing my kids go through every single emotion possible, like I mentioned before. And then my job, again, is to be the primary discipler in their lives. So there's things that happen when they're playing. If I have a front row seat and I'm watching with a different set of eyes, I can really use that to help them grow in their character in Christ.
Love
now,
it.
do I always do that perfectly? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I get sucked in just as much as the next person. But I'm trying and I'm praying so hard that God would change my heart first, because it does start with my heart. and help me approach these games differently for the benefit of my kids.
Yeah, I got more than one side eye from a referee on occasion when I'm up in the bleachers or on the sidelines, and a tap on the shoulder from my bride going, "Hey, Pastor Carl, let's keep it under control here." Heavy on the pastor. Okay, here's the deal, guys. I want you to pitch all the questions you've got to Brian Smith. He's our guest and co-author of Away Game, a Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. What a great, great book. And you might be grandparents, could be parents, could have little ones. You could have had some tough sports experiences and you want to know, how should have I handled that? And therefore, how can I handle it for my kids when they come along? Any age and stage in life, now's your time. I want you to call right now, 877-548-3675. I want these phone lines jammed here all across America and beyond right now. 877-548-3675. Give us a call and we will pitch these questions to Brian Smith. Before we go to a quick break here, give me a quick story here, man. You got 10 seconds. Give me a quick story that God shaped you with.
I'll give you one from last night at my youngest son's soccer tryout. I heard a dad tell his 6-year-old before he went to try out, "Today is the day to perform, so you better go out there and perform." And we can talk on the back end of this break about what that actually means in a kid's heart and soul before they go play.
Oh, my goodness, my brother. Okay, beautiful. Phone lines heating up. 877-548-3675. Expert guest here, Brian Smith, Away Game, a Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. Man, this is going to be a compelling hour, and we just started here. Carl Clausen filling in for Chris Brooks today.
Navigating manhood comes with questions, and thankfully, God's Word has answers. 72 questions and answers about life and becoming the man God designed you to be is a biblical guidebook that tackles the real questions young men face today about dating, identity, technology, pornography, faith, and so much more. You can request your copy or get one for someone you know with a gift of any amount to equip. Simply call 888-644-4144 or visit equipradio.org.
Hey, Carl Clausen here, filling in for Chris Brooks, Equipped Radio. What a joy. I've got a special guest with me today, Brian Smith. He's the co-author of Away Game, a Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. The reason I'm laughing is, oh, Brian, nothing pressure tests our faith in Christ than going to watch our kids play a game, my friend. I'm convinced of it.
Agree. We bring our expectations to the field, right? We've seen our kids practice. They're in our home. We have this expectation that today might be the day they finally connect and hit that ball over the left field fence, or maybe they finally make their first layup. And we bring those expectations. And what happens when those expectations are not met?
Yeah, we had someone who couldn't stay on the horn. We got phone calls coming in, by the way. This is great. If you got a question for Brian Smith about youth sports, either your motivation, kids' motivation, when do you pull them from a team, when's coaching a little bit beyond coaching, and how do you hang in there? There's myriad questions you can ask. 877-548-3675. I'll say it slowly. Give us a call wherever you are in this world. 877-548-3675. We had Winston call in from Tampa, Florida. He couldn't stay on the horn, but he wanted to know, what should a parent do when their children's game are in direct conflict? Oh, I love this question. With Sunday morning services or other church activities. What do you say, Brian?
Oh, goodness. I mean, are we going to spend the rest of our time talking about this?
We're coming in hot here, my friend.
Yeah, so I feel like Ed and I get asked this question all the time, and we actually wrote an article for Desiring God a couple months ago that they've posted. So if you want a more in-depth answer to that, you could check out there. I'll say this. Let me give a series of statements that I believe are true, and the individual has to do what they want with this. Number one, I believe deep in my bones that all Christians should be involved in a local church on a weekly basis. Two, I believe involved means more than just showing up for the 90-minute service once a week, but certainly not less. Three, sports are one of the few places left in society where people are habitually gathering together in community. Four, church leaders can do a better job of helping sports people figure out what does it look like to integrate faith and sport. And then five, the sidelines present maybe one of the best missional opportunities for Christians to actually show Jesus to people in their community. So there's a massive missional benefit to having Christ followers on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So all that to say, Carl, I don't know. Like, I feel like we want a prescribed answer for everyone for this. My principles that I'm trying to help my family live by is we prioritize going to church every weekend. So that means either Saturday night or Sunday morning, we are in a physical church with people from our community under the shepherding of a pastor. And yes, from time to time we are missing, but it's our own personal conviction that we're not going to take 8 weeks and miss church because of a baseball league that we're in.
Yeah. And that's where you got to sort it out between you and the Lord. You really do. And there are, I love that you framed out, there's some other factors here. It's not just church or not. There's like 4 or 5 other variables to weigh in there. I love that. Give us a call right now. We've got phone lines wide open for my guest, Brian Smith. He is the co-author of Away Game, a Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. Rodney in Illinois, what's your question or comment, Rodney?
Yeah, hey, I was just calling Brian, talk to you guys. Yeah, I've coached for about 25 years, and like throughout the coaching, you see different things, and people have different ideas about where their kids are, what they're supposed to be doing. But like the whole thing comes back to what we're supposed to be teaching our kids going forward. How do you take reprimand? How do you take action? Like if a ref makes a bad call, by us jumping on him doesn't help a child say, hey, this guy's in charge, this guy's making the call. So my whole life, like I've taught like that. Hey, actually, whenever you pray before you play, which is really hard nowadays because some people don't want you to do that, but I always knew that the Lord was with me. Whenever I did that, he was in charge. He did what we wanted to do. But today I go to my grandkids' games, and it's just appalling sometimes to listen to that. And I guess he wants us to step out. He wants us to say, hey, that's not right. And the funniest thing is like we had a call this weekend. I was at a tournament of my grandsons, and they were yelling at the ref, and my son was sitting next to me. And he goes, man, Josh, I can't believe you're not yelling at this guy. And then the one lady goes, well, yes, Dad's sitting right there. And I'm like, you sit there and you look at it and you go, I talked to him later about this. And I'm like, what do you do when I'm not here? But it's like, competitiveness. I've been doing it so long. Of all the children I've seen go through, maybe 4 or 5 would be professionally somewhere down the line, but that's even,
and that's out of thousands.
Yes. And, my son played college ball, and the best part of my life was following him through college ball in the stands, just watching and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because the whole time I coached for a long time, and I never got to see my kids play.
No.
But my thing was about getting the kids together. Legitimately, I would always, you get them up and you tell them, you try to correct them, you try to help them with the errors that they make, but it's never on a negative issue. You keep it at
Rodney.
And how you react with the ref is how your kids see that.
No, they're watching. I mean, that's the whole point. Rodney from Illinois, thanks for calling in. Good comment there. You want to build on that a little bit, Brian?
Yeah, I would love to. There are a couple of things that Rodney said that I'd like to comment on. One is just the benefit. You talked about praying beforehand, that if you're prayed up, God really is. Maybe you more feel his presence during the game. So Ed and we've talked for a long time just about the benefit of you drop your kid off at practice or the game, and before you, the adult, gets out of the car, just have your own quick devotional time with the Lord. Bring him into that space. God, what do you want to reveal to me before I watch my kid play today? Would you help me be slow to speak and quick to listen? God, would you help me to enjoy watching my kid play and smile? And would I be more concerned with cheering on other kids than feeling like I need to record every single moment? And so just invite God into the process. And then secondly, with referees, I've practiced this the last couple of years, Carl, and I found like it's been super beneficial. Is before games start, I try to get there a little early, and I'll just go and talk to the referees. Like they're always hanging out in between games.
Yes.
And I'll ask their name. I'll ask how many games they've ref today. I'll ask how much longer they're going to be here. And what that does, like I'm not trying to get calls for my kid's team. I'm trying to treat them like a human.
Yeah.
I'm reminding myself, okay, this kid, he's 16 years old. He's probably getting paid $12 an hour. His name's Tom. He does not have as much invested in this game as I do. And that's okay, but he's still a person.
Yeah.
And so just talking to the refs beforehand at least humanizes them, which means when they make a bad call, I'm less likely
you're less likely to blast
I want to give them grace, right? I want to give them grace.
I love that. Brian Smith is my guest right now. He's the co-author of Away Game, a Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. We got some phone lines available. We're ready for you right now. Give us a call, 877-548-3675. Give us a call, 877-548-3675. And it can be a quagmire. It really can. I got a note here, Jackie from Chattanooga. How can I best handle another parent's lack of self-control that my children witness at a game, in the moment and after the moment? There's sometimes bad language or angry displays. Give us your best 30 seconds on that one, Brian.
Yeah, you can either remove yourself and go to a different part of the bleachers or the other end of the field. I think it's beneficial to sit right next to them and model for them what healthy cheering looks like. And so instead of going crazy off the rails, what would it look like for you to sit next to that parent and model for them what you would want them to look like as a sports fan, and almost be the contrast right next to them in the stands?
Okay, this is so good. Well, coming up, I'm going to give you some time here to wrestle with one that I think a lot of people ask, because some coaches have become so competitive that we find that we're putting ourselves in a situation that could be unduly harsh to our kid. Mm-hmm. When do you pull them? When do you keep them? I want you to think about that one a little bit, and we're going to tackle that one. I want to invite everyone in right now to make your phone call. How do you deal with this? Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. Brian Smith, co-author of this book called Away Game, is with me right now. And this is an incredible blessing, an opportunity to watch God work in our lives in such a way that we're hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit working, yes, speaking to us even while we're at games. That could seem foreign, but it's really not. And you can have that. And Brian's going to help us to know how. Give us a call right now, 877-548-3675, wherever you are in the United States or beyond, 877-548-3675. Got to go to break here in just a minute, but I wrestle with that one. Let's tackle it on this end right here. Let's go after it, Brian. You got a coach that is hard on a kid. When do you pull them from the team, and how long do you hang in there?
Yeah, and I guess we would need to define what do we mean by hard on a kid. And as parents, we need to decide, is the coach being hard on my kid going to help build resiliency in my kid, even if it's not what I would want it to look like? Or is it a toxic environment? And if it's toxic, again, this is what parents need to wrestle through. You don't want your kid in that environment. I'm of the opinion that parents should do this kind of homework before they sign their kid up to play with this particular coach. And if at all possible, try to finish the season and use those hard moments to help teach the kid the lessons that they can through it. Very rarely do athletes come through a season without hardship. And we're living in a day and age where it becomes very easy because there's another coach, another team, another opportunity to pull them right away. I think there's benefit to developing some resiliency and sticking with it a little bit longer, even if we don't love the coach.
Really good feedback here. Brian Smith, my guest. Again, the name of the book is Away Game, A Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. He's co-authored it, and he's here to answer your questions. This is a great time to get your questions in. Straight ahead, we'll tackle them. 877-548-3675. That's 877-548-3675. I'm Carl Clausen, sitting in for Chris Brooks today. We'll be back with Brian Smith straight ahead. Welcome to Equipped. I am Carl Clausen, and I'm filling in for Chris Brooks today, and it is a joy to be with you. It really is. Before we get back to our guest, and boy, what a guest he's been, Brian Smith, co-author of Away Game, A Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. Just that title and subtitle goes, yeah. Let me get some insight on this one. It's a great question to ask. How do we live as Christ followers in this kids, youth sports kind of leagues that we see that are just dominating the landscape, and so many kids aspire to play in the pros or to have a real competitive spirit, and there can be an opportunity to forge faith in a unique way, and we're going to get back to that. By the way, quick call, shout out here. We've got room for your call. Any question on youth sports, 877-548-3675. I'll say it slowly, and let's load them up here, guys. 877-548-3675. I want to do one quick shout out here, though, a little bit off topic, but really on topic, in that Equip doesn't come to you out of the blue. It is fed, supported by people like you, bottom line. And I just got word. In fact, I asked Tricia before we came on air, I said, where are we at here? Because this is listener-supported radio. And she said, we're at about 11% of our goal for this month. So I want to do something really fun today. Some of you have the spirit connecting with this show in a big way. And some of you have the means to kick in something, some of you quite sacrificial, to help the wheels go round on Equipped. And I get to do something boldly that Chris might not even be able to do as much. But because I'm guest hosting here, I'm asking you to jump in and support this radio program. Here's how you do it. All you do is go to equippedradio.org. Real simple, equippedradio.org, and you'll find a link right there to go, yep, I'm jumping in. We're not doing 11% this far into this month. We're going to cap this thing off and surprise Chris when he gets back here. Or you can call this number, and we got people standing by right now, 888-644-4144. I'll give you that number again. I'm really asking you to consider jumping on board. I know the tendency is to think the guy over my shoulder's got it, but sometimes you look over your shoulder, there's no one there. 888-644-4144. Or you can go online to equippedradio.org. And I want to thank you ahead of time because I know the Spirit of God's working in some of your hearts to give. And I want to thank you. Let's get beyond 11% today. Let's get it up there near 50, 60% before Chris gets back. Back to our guest here, Brian Smith, co-author of Away Game, A Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. Going to go back to the phone lines here. Rael, right here in Illinois, what's your question or comment?
Firstly, thank you for pronouncing my name so perfectly.
Hey, it's good when you get your name pronounced the way Mom intended, right?
Yes. So my comment, I'm a grandmother, and my oldest grandson's 18. He just graduated, and then I have one. They both play sports. One is basketball, one is wrestling. And I'm listening to your show, and it's not the coach who's hard on him. My son and his wife, their mother, oh my God, they go on the field, they get in a ref's face.
Oh,
They
no.
are so loud. And, they're hard on my grandsons. And I understand that they want them to be the top of their sports. And they literally individually have over 100 different awards, trophies, and they are amazing and talented. But my son is so hard. They use language right in that space. And I'm sitting there just praying softly like, why are you so hard on him? So
Yeah.
what can I do differently? Or how can I approach my son? Or, I'm getting this book for him for Father's Day, by the way. So, yeah.
That's a good call. Let me ask one clarifying question, Ryle, before we go any further. Is your son truly born again?
No, he's not.
Okay.
They were baptized, but they strayed away.
Yeah, so they are not following Jesus. All right, that's a big factor here, isn't it, Brian? Because it's hard to squeeze fruit out of someone who's not abiding in the vine here, my friend. It ain't going to happen. So what do you say to Rael, Brian?
Yeah, there's still wisdom available to anybody, whether they would profess to be a believer or not. I would arm my questions or with statistics like this. 70% of kids quit youth sports by the age of 13 because they say it's no longer fun. In large part, it's no longer fun. Kids have reported mom way too intense and care way too much about it. And the kids internalize that intensity as pressure, and they're anxious and they don't want to play anymore past 13 because they're just terrified of their parents. And so I would have statistics like that readily available. But beyond that, I think I would just ask them to ask their kid how they are experienced during a game. So encourage them to say to their kid, can you let me know how you experience mommy and daddy during the game? Is there anything that you would want us to stop doing? Is there anything that you would want us to start doing keep doing? And allow the kid a voice in this conversation, because the kid might actually have more of a platform in the parent's life than you do in a conversation like this.
Yeah, that is some good counsel, Rael. That's something to take to the bank there, and I'm glad you're getting a copy of this book for your son for Father's Day. That's a great one. The name of the book, by the way, if you're wondering, is Away Game, A Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. Brian Smith, who's with me right now, is the co-author on this work. We're taking your calls, 877-548-3675. Let's get them in here as quick as we can. 877-548-3675. That stat is pretty staggering, Brian. We can actually steal the joy from our kids, even if, like Rael's kids, grandkids, these kids are athletes and they've won a lot of awards, but you can still just suck the joy out of it, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And we say all the time, it's largely coming from well-intentioned parents, but we have been discipled by a sport culture that tells us the highest value is winning and getting to the next step. And whether we understand it or not, that discipleship leads us then to act in those kind of ways towards our kids. Like our true values really do come out. And the stats on this, Carl, are just crazy. 9 out of 10 kids say the reason they play sports is because they want to have fun. But 70% are quitting because it's not fun. And so whose fault is that? Is it the kids? Big. Is it the kids? No, it's the adults. Again, well-intentioned adults. But we have made more of youth sports than it needs to be. We've professionalized it because we like professional sports, right?
Yeah. How important is it to have a conversation? Let's get a scenario where their parents kind of got their heads screwed on and they've got their cheering and their coaching under control. They want their kids to be resilient, hang in there, learn that defeat can be victory, all those great little poster words. but the culture in that, on that field, in the stands, everything, it seems like having post-game conversations is really important here.
It absolutely is. And it's not just the conversation that needs to happen. It's where and when. We talk about this all the time too. The car ride home, Carl, is often not a time to have that conversation. The kids are tired. They're frustrated. And what's usually happened, again, well-intentioned parents who have been discipled by an ESPN analyzing culture, we want to coach, we want to critique, we want to ask questions about why they did what they did. But what our kids need from us in that space is just to connect with them. They need to know that what happened on the field or on the court 30 minutes ago has no bearing on their identity with us or their identity with God. But oftentimes what happens is kids get into the car and they're hearing parents ask questions like, oh, why didn't you pass the ball to this kid? Or why did you do this? And they're internalizing that as what it feels like I felt short of mom and dad's expectations. And if that becomes the totality of our kids' experience in youth sports, man, are we missing one of the bigger goals here? If their experience in youth sport is, I'm not living up to mom and dad's expectations, what do we do with that as Christians people? Yeah. I am of the opinion that our kids get their first understanding of who God is through their relationship with us. And again, if I'm having a grace first posture with my kids of, hey, I know the game didn't go as well as you wanted it to, or it went awesome today. Hey, I still love you. What happened has no bearing on our relationship. I'm still in your corner. That's gospel type language, which hopefully will carry on the next 20 years. Whether or not they made the goal, they're not going to remember that in 20 years from now. My posture with them will.
That's powerful, Brian. Brian, this little riff that you just went on was worth the price of admission, man. We're not done yet. We got another good shot at this here. You got a question for our guest, Brian Smith, co-author of Away Game, a Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. You got a question? We got time to squeeze in a couple. Let's do it. Phone line's wide open. We're ready for you. 877-548-3675. 877-548-3675. We love our kids. Sports can be a watershed moment for them. Get your calls in right now. 877-548-3675. I'm Carl Clausen, sitting in as guest host for Chris Brooks on Equipped.
In today's rapidly changing culture, Christians need solid biblical guidance more than ever. That's our mission here at Equip, to provide biblical wisdom for life's toughest questions. When you step in as an equipper, you're not just giving. Your monthly support helps to offer clarity and hope to a confused and anxious culture. And you'll get exclusive resources and updates from us all year long. Join our team of monthly supporters today. Call 888-644-4144 or visit equipradio.org.
Welcome aboard. It's Equipped with Chris Brooks. I'm guest hosting today. My name's Carl Clausen, and it is a joy to have you with us. I have really enjoyed this. We're not done yet. We got some time. We'll get a call in here or two. 877-548-3675. 877-548-3675. Brian Smith is the co-author of the book Away Game. Love that title. A Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. So, how young is too young? I've seen some of these T-ball YouTube shorts, and oh my goodness, it's hilarious, but it's like, why are we... Sometimes I wonder, why are we here? I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, kids are running to second, they're running to third, they're hitting the ball, maybe, and then they're dropping and falling on the ground, or they run to the snacks. It's hilarious. Is it worthwhile, Brian?
I mean, it depends on why you have your kid involved that early. If it's because sports are a beautiful gift from God and you want them to enjoy play and learn a new skill and enjoy being with friends and be away from video games and screens and just laugh and have fun and be like, absolutely. But if your why is that we're believing the lie, and this is a lie, that putting your kid in a 5U soccer league with the expectation that they're just going to keep getting better and better, and then they're going to make the high school team and go like the. I know we laugh, but the data out there is alarming. The data is showing that there is no correlation between kids who we would identify as elite, who are under the age of 13, who go on to be elite when they're 16, 18, 20 years old. There's just there's no connection between kids being amazing at a young age and them continuing to be amazing at an older age. So I just think we need to be reminded of that it's, if we want to put our kids in sports early, great, do it. Let them have fun. Let them try a wide variety of sports and enjoy the process. If you think specializing at the age of 5 is going to better their chances to make a team when they're 16, you actually have a better shot at them quitting by the age of 13 because they're going to be burnt out.
Yeah, it's super fascinating when you talk to these guys that have been there and done that. I have a brother-in-law that was quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys back in Tom Landry days, and we were talking about this, and he said, when it comes to football, he said, and his son went on to play for the Washington Huskies, and he said, I would not put kids in pads too young. He said, there's no need to do that. He said, at some point, either you got the athletic ability or you don't. And you see some of these kids that are coming from, into the NBA, they've got 1 year of collegiate experience playing basketball, and now they're making, $25 million a year. There's no correlation either way. And the guys that are seasoned in this say, slow down, think about this long and hard before you start strapping pads on for football in that case. What do you comment on that one?
Yeah, I can speak to this as a former Division I athlete. I ran track and cross country at Wake Forest University, and I also, being on staff with the sport ministry, Athletes in Action, I did campus ministry at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, at UNC, at Duke for over a decade. And I would say that this view that collegiate sports is the promised land, that we can just get there, everything is going to be peachy and it is a tough, challenging environment, not just athletically, but just being a man or a woman in an environment like that is often really, really toxic. And so we're putting all of our eggs in this, man, we just hope our kids can get to play at this level. And that level it's a dangerous level without the right support structure for kids to be at. And I'm not saying you should not want that for your kid. I'm just saying we need to be careful thinking that collegiate sports is the promised land. If anything, it might be more like Babylon.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. It's at every sport level, the intensity has grown exponentially here, Brian. We just got a couple of moments here, and I want to make sure you've got the floor to get your heart poured out here. What have we missed so far that you really want to cover?
Yep. Let's go back to right before the first break. I had mentioned that my youngest had soccer tryouts last night, and before he even started, I heard one parent say to their kid, you have to perform today. He reminded his young kid, he's probably 8 or 9 years old, you have to go out there and perform today. And I was just reminded, one, that that's a true statement. He is going to be in an environment where there's coaches in red shirts and they have clipboards and they're going to be checking the box whenever his kid does something right or wrong. But those are the types of well-intentioned comments, because he is trying to prepare his kids. Those are the type of comments that show up in counseling sessions 20 years later. I just always felt like I had to perform. I always remember my dad telling me that I had to perform, that people were watching. And as Christian people, specifically as Christian people, this is a huge opportunity for us to model the gospel for our kids.
Yes.
Because a gospel mentality is not you have to perform. It's that Jesus has already performed for you.
Brother.
And
yes.
Out of that identity, you have freedom to not sin or be crazy, but you have freedom to go and live a flourishing life because your identity is already secured. But we can so easily teach our kids the opposite through their experience in sport, that you are only as good as your latest performance. Yeah. That you have to perform to be loved, that mom and dad give you the most affection when you win and succeed. And when you fall short or make mistakes, it's not that we don't love you, but maybe they experience the cold shoulder. So we just need to be really careful that when our kids are playing sports, we're having a long-term perspective in mind, that if our highest value is we want them to know Jesus and love Jesus and understand the gospel, that means that they need to know through sport, regardless of what happens, that they are loved, yes, that their identity is secure, that they can go out and make mistakes, and them and mom and dad are good. The coach might pull them out of the game, but mom and dad, their love for them is not going to shift based on the fact that they had a turnover in basketball.
Brian, that is so spot on.
Do we not want kids who can live out of that freedom, not just in sport, but in the rest of life?
Oh, yeah. What you just nailed is the gospel. I mean, the pressure's off in Christ. And if we can model that for our kids, man, we're on the right path. Brian, this has been really good content, and I can tell this book is loaded, man. Parents, grab it. It's called Away Game, A Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. Away Game, A Christian Parent's Guide to Navigating Youth Sports. This is going to serve you so well. I want to thank Brian Smith for being in with me today. I also want to thank Chris Brooks for inviting me in to guest host. My name's Carl Clausen. It's been a joy to be with you. Everything we do here is to glorify God so that you can enjoy Him more every day. You know, one of those ways that we can do that is to be vigilant, to guard our heart. Out of it flows words. And if we tend to the garden of our heart and allow the Lord to be the Lord of it, everything will change.